lang ha at oops. Nalaglag. What we're going to do today is we're going to discuss several of the, well, actually marami akong nakalagay sa listahan ko ng mga standouts doon sa introduction, doon sa national costume, as well as sa swimsuit and evening gown. Because with the way that the Binibining Pilipinas is structured to events, not simultaneously, but one after the other, medyo mahaba-haba itong usapan natin on the national costume show as well as on the press presentation. Because the press presentation, kung hindi nyo napapansin, it was actually composed of two events. It's the introduction and the rampa on the swimsuits. Samantalang yung national costume show, there were several segments. There was the JAG, there's the beauty derm, there's the evening gown preliminaries, and then there's also the national costume show. So medyo, kumbaga, siniksik nila lahat yung mga events ng Binibining Pilipinas this year into just half a day. Almost full day actually kung totoosin, kasi nag-start kami on the media at around 12 o'clock, and then we ended up at around 7 or 8 in the evening. So medyo tingin ko mauubusan ako ng laway habang dinidiscuss lahat ng mga natin, yung mga dapat nating i-discuss. So I might have to skip on some of your comments later on, so that just mailabas natin lahat itong mga gusto natin pag-usapan with regards to the standouts doon sa bawat segments within those two shows. Okay? Ayan. So, good evening everyone. Medyo ngarag tayo ngayong pa-live natin na ito because there were so many things that happened during the event yesterday. And ang gusto ko sanang sabihin dito sa ating pa-live stream is that we're going to have to mention a lot of girls because based on when I reviewed the videos that I took, as well as based on what I retained on first impressions during the national costume and the press presentation ng mga simply because medyo marami yung mga girls na nag-stout simply because they brought their A game. I think nakitaan natin lahat ng mga girls na perform o how silang mag-compete. So talaga sila nilabas talaga nila yung mga tinatago nilang mga competitive streak, kumbaga, with regards to the events this last Thursday. So for those na not very familiar with what happened, is that the two events that happened during the Binibining Pilipinas press presentation and dire-diretso hanggang sa Binibining Pilipinas na national costume show, those are actually two events that in the past is hiwalay. And nagtaka tayo, biglang nagkaroon ng evening gown preliminaries, and pag-uusapan natin yan mamaya because there were two gown segments na hindi dapat dalawa ang naging gown segments. And I will explain that a little bit later. So first things first, before the start of the event, the Binibining Pilipinas invited press and VIP and sponsors to mingle together during the beginning of the show. Doon natin nakitaan na biglang may surprise na arrival si Gloria Diaz, and these are something na we were not expecting to happen because we were thinking na only mga invited na mga press and sponsors and some VIP members is going to be joining the event. So taka kami na biglang ang daming tao, ang daming mga how do you say this, mga sponsors as well as VIP guests who sat as judges for the press presentation. At nakitaan natin na halos puno yung what do you call this? Halos puno yung judging table doon sa buong event. So these are things na we weren't expecting, but we were glad that it happened because kinda kinda unexpected yung pagdating ni Miss Gloria Diaz, as well as expected na yung pagdalo ng mga previous Binibining Pilipinas winners from the 80s and the 90s like Desiree Verdadero, Marina Benipayo, Pati Betita. We also saw there surprisingly si Janina San Miguel and si Patricia Fernandez, yung kabatch niya for Miss International. So ayan, let's greet muna kasi medyo naengganyo tayong magsalita kaagad. Lord Lena says level up ang BPCI now, pasabog kung pasabog. I agree. The venue for the Binibining Pilipinas this year, hindi siya madilim, maliwanag siya. And this is one of the things that we were personally concerned about because the New Frontier Theater, hindi ganon ka adequate yung lighting for mga events like these na mas mas exposed ang yung beauty and event na mga ganito. And we were thinking kasi that because the NFT is built for mga concerts and mga events na medyo kailangan mo ng play on lighting, we were not expecting na ganun kaganda ang lighting for Binibining Pilipinas press presentation this year doon sa NFT. So we were pleasantly surprised that there is a beam of like really bright lights na tingin ko baka idinagdag this year, or hindi lang natin napapansin, but they changed siguro yung lighting system for Binibining Pilipinas and incorporated these very bright lights, kaya ang liwanag ng stage. And I think hindi siya nag-register that much on the live stream. However, on us on the ground, kita na maliwanag. If you look at the videos later that I am going to release with regards to the Binibining Pilipinas na mga events, makikita nyo talaga na maliwanag yung stage. Rodvin Fiel, sabi niya, present po. I want to hear your thoughts about the stage design, production, and the national costume designs and performance. I have some gripes. Kasi sir, while watching at home, di pala gripes, critique. One, camera angles. Siguro naging challenge yung stage and runway, kaya di sanay yung cameraman. Pero sana nag-practice sila. We don't want naman, sir, yung similar critique sa camera angles sa MUPH. Number two, national costume design. Sir, ako lang ba ang daming national costume designs na umasa sa props? Marami din ang binarampa. Okay sila tignan and creative, pero maraming girls ang nahirapan maglakad. Yung performance ng evening gown prelims, yung unang singer, okay naman kumanta. I like yung live yung pagkanta. And yung second singer, sana namili siya ng songs na nasa range niya. Sumasabit kasi, sir. Okay, marami nang nabanggit si Rodvin Fiel on that. When it comes to the stage production and the what do you call this, and the stage design, wala akong problema doon sa stage design because I saw yung choreography. And for me, who was covering doon sa ground, mas maganda yung how to say this, mas maganda yung mga angles, I think, na nakuhaan ko this year as compared to last year, because mas appropriate yung stage design for the pageant. I think that the stage design allowed girls to really show yung kanilang technical skills sa pagrampa, so I don't have a problem with that. The lighting is adequate. The production, the choice of music is I think appropriate. Hindi siya tunog elevator music. I do kind agree on some points on the songs na pinili for the evening gown competition. However, I think they wanted to make it upbeat. I am not sure though with the audio, because may mga parts na sumasabog yung audio sa venue. I think that is a technical problem that can be addressed. But in terms of energy, in terms of level of performance, I don't have any problem doon sa mga performances this year. Whether it's the two guys na perform for the evening gown, or it's Dion, the girl group, the P-pop girl group, and first one na nag-perform. I don't have any problems with that. Jeremy G also, who performed Bini in the tawag ito, in the press presentation, did really well. No. It's sa National Costume Show pala siya nag-perform. Did really well. So wala akong gripes on the performance aspect because they really brought their A game. In terms naman doon sa National Costume Designs, pag-usapan natin yan mamaya because I have listed several girls na tingin ko kinakailangan natin pag-usapan in terms of their performances and in terms of their designs per se. Okay? Daniel is bored. L is also here. Sabi niya, waiting Sir Jason. Sorry, we're 5 minutes late if I'm not mistaken. I just had some testing that I need to do kasi nagtry ako ng lapel para hindi tayo magkaroon ng mga problema sa audio because I think some of you have been complaining about my audio kapag nagla-live ako na medyo hindi kagandahan yung dating. So I'm hoping na with this with this lapel medyo mas maganda yung audio natin for this evening. Rodwin Fiel, anyway, Mirhan is my top performer sa press presentation. Her face is just immaculate. Sa national costume naman, we can't deny Angelica Lopez performance. Otan says, hello Sir Jason. Hello Otan. Travel Junkie, present po. Sir, can you give me a top 5 na tingin nyo pasok sa top 12 or 16 ng Binibini? Maganda ang register online. My God, ang hirap mag-narrow down. But right now, the girls that suddenly come into mind is Jean Isabel Bilasano, Kiara Gel, Gregorio. I'm also thinking sila yung top of mind ko. Si Mirhan Hipolito. Sa tatlo na yon, I'm also thinking in terms of performance, hindi ko pwedeng ilaglag si Angelica Lopez. So, yeah. Sadali lang ha. Titignan ko yung aking listahan ng mga girls na pumasok sa aking immediate Katrina Castaneda Johnson, Rima Adaco din. Ayun, 6 na yun. But pag-usapan natin yan mamaya kasi I am disheartened to hear na baka top 12 lang sila this year. And ang mangyayari pa nun, 11 yung papasok sa top 12 and then one girl ang papasok because of voting. So I don't know how that's gonna play out later, but I do hope that Binibining Pilipinas, ang pamunuan ng Binibining Pilipinas would expand that to a top 15. Please lang sana, top 15 ang gawin nila. Where were we? Jon Snow, 79. Hi, Jason. Yung production company kaya last year, sila pa rin ang kinuha this year for the finals, looking forward for a better production for the finals night. So, last year, the one who produced the press presentation was Aika Productions. I think this year, sila ulit yung nag-produce ng National Costume Show. And I have been hearing some bulong-bulungan that they are the ones that's going to be producing the finals na Grand Coronation Night na production. So, let's just wait for that muna kasi hintayin muna natin na magkaroon ng confirmation on that front. Kasi definitely si Aika, this will be their first time to do the finals, if I'm not mistaken, of Binibining Pilipinas, kung sila nga ang magpo-produce ng Grand Coronation Night on May 28. Ang dami ng comments. Okay, line spread. Any updates sa titles ng Binibining Pilipinas? 2 titles lang. I've been hearing that there's a 3rd title. I'm not sure kung anong title po yon. So I am hoping na maliwanagan tayo in the coming days. parating yung tinatanong sa akin kung anong bagong titles. This is as far as I can squeeze out of, the Binibining Pilipinas people. So, let's just wait for further announcements. Kasi kung confident silang magsabi sa akin na may third title na in the works, maybe they are making sure na walang sabit. So, alam naman natin na Binibining Pilipinas, they're not the type of organization that's just gonna get pageant franchises without reviewing thoroughly the pageant as a whole. Nasaan na tayo? Ronaldine sa King Villas. Ang sabi niya, good evening po. Good evening, Rona. I am hoping you're enjoying our live stream this evening. John Snow 79, looking at the prelims, mukhang youthful look na ang binibini. Sana magtuloy-tuloy. Thanks. I am also very much hoping that same thread is going to continue until the finals. I have heard that yung affinity ng Binibining Pilipinas to do P-pop or Pinoy pop for most of you guys is magtutuloy hanggang finals. I have been hearing that they are working na sana makuha nila last minute for a performance ang SB19 again this year. So let's hope na mag-align yung mga schedules nila so that magkaroon ng additional buzz ang Binibining Pilipinas this year. Richard Leofric, hello. Kumusta, Richard? I hope na mag-enjoy ka bukas kasi meron akong patsaa na ilalabas. Ayan. Nasaan na tayo? Salvi Salen, Sir Jason. Mas maganda ang audio mo ngayon, ang lakas, but pixelated ang video. I think not your fault, nasa signal siguro. Anyway, malakas na audio is fine. I think so because I am also currently uploading simultaneously as I am doing this live. I'm uploading yung tawag nito, yung ano ba yung ina-upload ko? It's the press presentation na full show. That is an hour long na press presentation mula yung speaking to the rampa na parts. So, naumpisahan ko kasi siya earlier at around 5 p.m. The entire file is around 12 gigabytes because I tried as much as possible to upload yung pinaka-maximum na kaya nung pinaka-maximum na quality ng na record ko. So I am nag-aaway yung Wi-Fi doon sa uploading ng video versus ito kasi naumpisahan ko na siya this 5 p.m. ng oras na ngayon, it's already 9:25, hindi pa rin siya tapos. I am expecting that because the upload is only at around 10% at this point in time. Sayang yung almost 2 gigabytes na na-upload na. So ayoko siyang hindi naman pwedeng i-pause ang upload sa YouTube. The only thing that you can do is to cancel. So ayoko naman sayangin yung bandwidth na i-upload ko na. So I am sorry if nagpi-pixelate on my end. But that's the way it is kasi I am using Wi-Fi simultaneously. Ayan. Sana kung maganda ang Wi-Fi natin dito sa Pilipinas, hindi magiging issue ito. JB Sarmiento, maadjong gabi po. Gabi po, Sir Jason. Maadjong gabi din, JB. Thank you for joining us tonight. Salvi Salen, Sir Jason, mas maganda ang audio mo ngayon. Okay, nabasa ko na to. Mike Earl Kilay ko, iba talaga ang tindig ng binibini compared sa ibang pageant. Girls, it's anybody's ball game. Again, yes. That's one of the things na pansin ko this year, na ang daming underrated girls. And ngayon lang napansin ng mga fans yung mga underrated girls na to. because they didn't think na may ibubuga yung mga girls, yung mga Binibining Pilipinas girls, because wala masyadong repeaters sa Binibining Pilipinas this year that matunog na malakas ang hatak sa fans. This made us or rather this made a lot of pageant fans think that this batch is actually very weak, but it's not in terms of the way that they speak, in terms of their accomplishments in life, in terms of their technical abilities. Lahat sila may kanya-kanyang items that they bring into the table. Richard Leofric, fan of your patsaa, looking forward. Yes, Richard, you will be enjoying our patsaa tomorrow. So, there. Where are we now? JB Sarmiento, Sir Jason, comment ko lang po, ang ganda ng fit and register sa cameras ng bagong footwear. Sponsor ng Binibini. Yes, Aishi Fashion ang bagong footwear sponsor ng Binibini, and I'm kinda, I'm kinda liking yung nakikita ko sa kanila with initially kasi ang nakikita natin are mga handmade na mga woven na mga sapatos na ginagamit ng Binibinis for their daily na mga activities, and then looking at their footwear na ginamit for the swimsuits, maganda din pala ang lapat sa paa ng Aishi fashion shoes. I am quite glad that wala pa ako naririnig na mga complaints from the girls with regards to to the shoes that to the new shoe sponsor. Yes, Richard. Richard is saying that this batch is so underrated. Daming nag-perform yesterday. Ayan. Then Rodvin is saying, Sir, thoughts mo kay Atasha, si Binibining Pilipinas, General Trias, Cavite. Pag-usapan natin mamaya si Atasha because she is one of those girls na tawag nito na biglang nambulaga doon sa press presentation up until the National Costume Show. Okay? So, first and foremost, I think let's begin with the press presentation. Kasi yung press presentation nagsilbing parang intro ng mga girls in order for them to sell themselves. I think yung intro ng mga girls would serve as the judges way to assess yung 10% or 20% na intelligence factor, if I'm not mistaken, kasi I have been hearing na walang closed door interview this year. So it might be that the introduction of the girls during the press presentation, way they talk about themselves, their accomplishments, would factor in as their closed door interview for whatever reason. And I'm kinda liking the fact that they had that opportunity to sell themselves to the judges, especially during the press presentation, because marami yung lumutang ng mga girls in terms of speaking ability, in terms of speaking and presenting themselves. Because ang nangyayari nito, if you are able to speak very well and communicate what value you are going to be bringing to the table, to the Binibining Pilipinas na mga titles, nagbabago yung perception ng mga judges sa'yo because they will probably score you higher on the press presentation na aspect, because nakita nila yung capacity, yung background mo, ano yung personal accomplishments mo. And this year we have a lot of lawyers, a lot of doctors, dental, whether it's dental na mga doctors or someone like Sandy Vollinger who represented the Philippines in a cancer research program in Japan. There's a lot of girls that you can really be impressed on in terms of their careers. So I think in terms of the introduction, there are several girls that really stood out because of the way that they spoke, the manner of their delivery, of their preparedness speech, and the way that they seem to communicate who they are as a person and what are their accomplishments. So First things first, inilista ko sila based on their numbers. The first girl that na pumasok sa listahan ko is si Juvel Bea, Binibining number 1, for her speech about being a government employee or a government being a public servant, sorry. And very eloquent yung pagsasalita ni Jovel, and I think she's one of those girls na underrated, na hindi mo napapansin because she's not that popular. But during the introduction, she really stood out on our perspective kasi very deliberate yung manner of speech niya, at saka maganda yung pagkakalahad niya ng kanyang mga accomplishments and what she plans to do with the title. I have also Binibini number 4, Paulina Labayo in this list. The way that nilahad niya yung pagiging Thai and Filipino niya, yung kanyang advocacy, binanggit din niya dun sa kanyang introduction, the way that hindi rushed yung delivery niya ng kanyang speech, and she's able to to really communicate who she is as a person. I think that's one of the things that I really appreciated with Paulina Labayo. And then we have Gianna Layanes, who is one of the most eloquent girls, one of the most accomplished girls kasi she's a sportscaster. She is a former Miss Philippines Earth. She, ang dami actually, if you look at, what do you call this? If you look at Gianna's credentials, marami kang careers na pwedeng pulutin. Sandali lang, let me just give you a sample kasi nandito sa aking sa where is it? So there, Gianna is a sportscaster. She is also nasaan na ba yun? Oh my God, it's not showing on my screen. Bakit ayaw niyang lumabas? Okay, there. Sorry guys, medyo nagbabagal ang internet ko because I have so much tabs that's open. So, kailangan siguro So there, Gianna Lianes, she is a journalist, television and events host. She is a sportscaster. She's also a radio DJ. She is a writer and a fitness instructor. So sa dami ng hats that she can pull off in terms of her resume actually packs a punch. And then I also have here Mirhan Hipolito, who was a revelation because sinabi niya that she only learned to speak English when she was a teen, when she started babysitting. And with the way that she is very eloquent, there is a certain class to the manner of her speech kapag nagsasalita siya, but at the same time there is a certain level of strong-willed and strong empowered way of communicating that I see on Mirhan. I think wag natin kalimutan si Mirhan when we are looking at possible girls for the top title. I think that Mirhan showcased that she ticks off every aspect of the competition, na hindi lang ganda ng mukha, hindi lang intelihente, hindi lang marunong magsalita, but she's also very much physically a threat to anyone who is aiming for the top crown. And then, we also have Kiara Giel Gregorio. Nakita yung pagiging lawyer niya. Essentially kasi in England, the way that they are structured, yung kanilang law na career is that they need to have like experience first before they can be called like they get their law license, something like that. So the way kita nyo naman kung paano very malumanay, but still very on point yung mga sinasabi ni Kiara Gel doon sa kanyang introduction, the way that she is able to tell yung kanyang experience about immigration and yung modern day slavery, and a lot of the work that she has done on that front, as well as being a telecaster for the Filipino channel in UK. Kita mo na ito, prepared itong makipagbakbakan, because later on, kapag nakita niyo yung kanyang presentation from the evening gown to especially to the national costume show, kita mo na very suabe yung kanyang hagod sa rampa. I think that Kiara Gel should be someone that a lot of people and a lot of fans should be paying attention to, dahil siya yung isa sa mga quiet na nagpe-perform but very much a silent killer. I also have Jean Isabel Bilasano as a possible contender for Miss International, for the Binibining Pilipinas International na title, because kita mo yung performance niya in the evening gown, but more so doon sa the way that she is delivering her introduction during the press presentation. In fact, nabanggit niya yung kanyang pagiging speech pathologist, how she is using that career path to be of service to her kababayans, being the only certified, or rather being the only professional na speech pathologist doon sa buong lalawigan nila. You can just imagine yung kanyang service to the community because of her career, being the only person who can help both children and people, elderly people who have challenges in their speech, in daily lives, and paano siya nakakatulong doon sa community nila. And you will know more about Belle tomorrow kapag na-release na yung aking interview sa kanya, because you really get a sense of a great conversationalist with Isabel in that interview. And then I also need to give a shout out dito sa list ko kay Julia Mendoza. Julia is not only one of those girls na na bigla akong na-impressed during the press presentation, but also because of the manner that she speaks. When she speaks with heart, with not just conviction, but with emotion. When she talked about being a HIV support advocate, especially with her, sister who passed away because of HIV, na sakit. I think it really kind of touched you in such an emotional way, kasi hindi ganun ka common yung hindi ganun ka common yung advocacy na ito, because it's very personal. It's not something that you would open up to a lot of people, and be easily accepted. There's still a stigma when it comes to HIV/AIDS, and I think with Julia speaking so very heartfelt about it, that is one of the takeaways doon sa kanyang introduction. And I think that yung kanyang manner of speaking allows you to have a better understanding doon sa mga challenges na pinagdadaanan ng mga families and ng mga taong laden with HIV. Ayan. And then I have 12 girls in my listahan, and at number 8 I have Zoe Bernardo Santiago. Okay, this girl is very well-traveled. She traveled like to 25 countries all over the world. She speaks 4 languages. She's learning Hebrew now, aside from the fact that she can speak English, Tagalog, Norwegian, and I forgot the other one. Plus, I also had an interview with her where I was able to, dig deeper into her background. And from what I was able to get out from her is that she also, was a volunteer at the Ukrainian war efforts, where she and her team, lumipad sila at nagpunta sa Croatia, if I'm not mistaken, to help yung mga fleeing na mga Ukrainians through their immigration process. I think, yung kanyang, because if you look at her, what do you call this, at her bio at the Binibining Pilipinas website, there is really a lack of wealth of information. Kulang na kulang yung information that you can squeeze out of her bio. In fact, she is a international law student who is currently under her break, I think, from school. And ang balik niya, I think, later this year, at around September, if I'm not mistaken, doon sa kanyang studies. She's taking up a law degree that focuses on peace and conflict resolution. So very impressive yung kanyang resume. And I think a lot of people, did not expect that this Binibini from Manila, aside from her, breaking the molds of what is a Binibini should look like, because Zoe is one of those girls who have a more voluptuous na body. Her body measurements, if I'm not mistaken, is 36, 26, 38. So she's more on the curvy side. And the mere fact that we need and we want representation on different, body types at the national level, and she's providing that for us, as well as providing one of the most beautiful faces in the competition. And then lalamanan pa niya ng kanyang background, ng kanyang very heavy na resume. I think that is something that is really impressive. Of course, hindi mawawala sa listahan natin si Rima Adaco din. And when she talked about inclusivity, when she talked about the struggles and how she champions for inclusivity, ramdam mo yung experience niya in her pageant career. If I'm not mistaken, she competed in Miss Bicolandia like 2 or 3 times bago siya nalo, and now she's competing at at Binibining Pilipinas. And then recently there was some sort of a debacle. One of our friends, one of our media friends, called her skin tone as a tan. This makes her, her advocacy on inclusivity much more potent. When I saw Rima, she is actually the Binibini with the darkest skin tone among her batch. But hindi yun nakabawas sa ganda niya. To be honest, I want to stress that despite what people think on what is beautiful, because we are in the Philippines have been colonized to think that the fairer the skin, the more beautiful the person is. That is not the case, because I saw Rima in person multiple times, and she really embodies someone who is gorgeous, not just because of her face, but also because of her skin. She actually reminds me of a former Miss Venezuela. She was Miss Venezuela World nung panahon ni Mafe Yunon. Her name is Valentina Patruno, and Rima, exudes that kind of vibes. The mere fact that her speech, her introduction focuses on inclusivity, pretty much nails why representation is important. Why we need to have girls with different skin tones, ke dark, ke chinita, ke morena, and we need them to be visible at a national stage, especially in pageants, because we need that kind of representation. Okay, and then I also have last three names. Katerina Castaneda Johnson, which is a licensed pharmacist and licensed clinical pharmacist at that. She's one of, if I'm not mistaken, she is essentially one of the girls who is the most eloquent, strongest, one of the strongest communicators in her batch. And kita din naman doon sa kanyang resume that her resume packs a punch. And then the last two ladies in my list are Sofia Lopez Galve, who is a CEO of two corporations, one which employs indigenous peoples and gives them livelihood programs and livelihood through entrepreneurship. And I think a lot of people easily dismiss yung mga girls ng Binibining Pilipinas because they don't know them. They don't know yung kanilang mga accomplishments, and Sophia, selling herself as the woman, as the girl boss who walks the talk, is really something that really tumatak sa aking isip, because this is what we need, women who are not afraid to tell who they are and what their accomplishments are, and not afraid to be proud of what they have accomplished. Kasi karamihan sa atin, society has trained us to women to become submissive, and that is something na hindi magandang factor na ginagawa natin sa half of our population. So I'm hoping na more women would take up space like Sophia does, and really be proud of their accomplishments. And then we have finally in the 12 na standouts on the introduction, I have Sandy Marilyn Bollinger, who is a doctor by profession, and as I said earlier, she was a Philippine representative to a cancer research program in Saitama, Japan, and that really is something that adds gravitas to anyone's resume, to be honest, especially for people who are aspiring to become binibinis, because aside from physical na ganda, there are a lot of women who are able to showcase yung kanilang accomplishments na hindi lang physical na ganda ang kaya nilang ipagmalaki. And these ladies essentially just gave us reasons why Binibining Pilipinas attracts is still the most accomplished women in pageantry. Okay, medyo marami na ang ating mga comments, so let's go ahead at magbasa tayo ng mga comments ninyo. Nasa na 'yon? Okay, Richard Leofric, this batch is so underrated. Daming nag-perform yesterday. Agree. Benji Pangalay, bakit hindi nag-sponsor si Jojo Bargais? Okay, Jojo is a sponsor of Miss Universe Philippines, and I cannot reveal what are the rumors that I've been hearing behind the scenes, because I want to know first yung ni Jojo. and I owe him that because he is a friend. Kapag magkita kami, I will definitely, bring this up to him, what happened. But I do hope na with Jojo moving to Miss Universe Philippines and with Aishi Fashion as the new footwear provider for Binibining Pilipinas, I do hope na it will work out for each pageant systems because the more that we have new coming na mga names, mas marami yung nakikinabang because mas marami yung nakakakilala sa mga sa mga lesser known natin na mga designers and brands. I think this is the time wherein pageants should be nurturing mga local homegrown talents because this is a huge platform for them. So there. Saldi Salen, Mr. Jason, saan po ba ang finals venue ng Binibining Pilipinas? Sa Smart Araneta Coliseum siya on May 28. Denji Perogino is asking, 3 crowns ba ang paglalabanan? Yes. The third crown, I'm not yet sure kung ano yung crown na yon. If they got a new franchise or may bumalik na franchise, I have no idea as of press time. Okay? Mike Earl Kilay ko, Sir, what can you say na Mac Tumang is back active na siya magdamit ulit ng pageant girls after Cat? Hindi sisisi na hindi siya masyado active in pageantry. That is because I think that ultimately as a designer, kailangan mong kumita. You need to earn. And to be honest wala sa pageantry ang pera when it comes to designing because you are essentially just offering XDs most of the time. You're using the pageantry as a marketing platform rather than an avenue to actually earn. So I am happy that he is back, but I do hope that even if he is back in pageantry, hindi pa rin mawala yung client base niya because I think that is where the money is. I think that designers need to be very business-minded and not just being creative, not just being, very noisy on social media. Ultimately, kailangan you are able to balance, the creativity, the glamour, the marketing, as well as the entrepreneurial and business aspect of your fashion brand. Hello, the universe. Super late. Hello, sir. I think since they didn't confirm na 2 crowns, may chance na may ma-add. And asan si Sir Hines? Sir Hines is not present during the press presentation. But I think sa mga susunod na mga events, makikita natin siya. Amara Silvera, ciao from Italia. Love your coverage. Thank you, Amara. I am hoping na soon enough, yung mga coverage, yung mga videos that I was able to gather and get for the Binibining Pilipinas na mga events, may upload ko na sa YouTube. Every day, I will try as much as possible to release new videos para meron yung aabangan. I do hope, however, that sana mabilis ang ang internet natin dito sa Pilipinas because the reason why I was only able to upload like 4 videos today, it's because the internet could not support multiple uploads. I tried multiple uploads today and it didn't really push. So yung mga uploads ko, there is this upload that was around 12 gigabytes na umabot ng almost half a day, like around 4 or 5 hours yung upload time niya. And aside from that, naman ang YouTube, they screen yung mga videos that's uploaded and check if may mga copyright na mga music na involved. So may no-notify pa yan, so kinakailangan mo pang mag-edit minsan. So there. Okay, sabi ni Amara, continuation ni Amara, in fairness to Binibining Pilipinas, ang ganda ng national costume and prelims. I agree. Very level up. Very, this is the kind of national pageant that we are used to. That should be the what do you call this? Should be the benchmark. Wala pa tayo doon sa Thailand level. I believe na na what do you call this? Na production, but slowly but surely I hope aabot tayo doon. Sana ba? Hello the universe. I love number 4, Paulina Labayo. She's the real workhorse for me. Ang alta-alta lang. She reminds of Christy Matgari. I kinda agree. And she's one of the girls na nag-step up during the preliminaries. And she's also one of the girls na napansin namin, especially on my end. Napansin ko na nag-perform for the preliminaries this year. Yung performance niya sa evening gown, ang tangkad niya tignan, ang elegante niyang tignan. I think that's something na people who have the eye for beauty would notice. Travel junkie, Rima is a brown Barbie. She's freaking gorgeous. I don't get why people, especially pageant analysts, have this connotation on dark skin. 2023 na. As I've said, Rima is gorgeous. Hindi nakakabawas yung kanyang dark skin, yung kanyang dusky na skin tone. I think nakaka-add yun ng additional appeal on Rima, because if she look lighter, hindi mo siya mapapansin. I think that yung dark skin really suits her. So I'm hoping na hindi siya mag-bleach, because she really is gorgeous talaga with her very dusky na skin. And ang maganda doon is pantay ang kanyang kulay. Her hindi mo siya kinakailangan paitimin on some parts or paputiin on some parts, because her skin tone is very even. Nasaan? Rodwin Fiel is saying na I love Rima's smile and yung glowing morena skin niya. I agree. Ay Chasia, greetings. Hello. Hola, ¿cómo está? Wait. I think you're the one from France, right? Bonjour. Hope you're enjoying our live stream. Hello the universe. Nahuli si Nawat, nanonood ng Binibining Pilipinas press presentation kahapon sa YouTube. Well, that's his loss. The mere fact that he peddled his wares to other pageant franchise or other pageant systems here in the Philippines, that's on him. Biker and Broke, watched, okay, suddenly I nawala. Okay, Biker and Broke says, watched live yesterday, can't help to say ganda ng lineup ni 6, 7, and 8. Kinda agree. Isama mo na si 4. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maganda yung lineup nila. Hindi lang sikat si 7 pero nag-stand out siya at nakipagsabayan. Okay. JB Sarmiento says, Rima also reminds me of Vanessa Mendoza. Miss Colombia 2002, yung kabatch ni Karen Lauren Agustin. The one who is the Barbie, who had really dark skin but really gorgeous face. Rodwin Fiel, nasagot ko na yung tanong mo about new crowns. Yung about new crowns ni Sir Manny, I am hoping na sa kanila manggaling, dahil what rumor I've heard about on that front, I cannot yet confirm dahil hindi ko pa naka-counter check sa mga ibang mga sources ko. Before I publish a rumor, my minimum requirement is that it should come from at least 2 sources, 2 different sources, so that hindi so that hindi siya mukhang gawa-gawa lang or kwento-kwento lang. Okay? Bri. Last year, Barbie Dagulan Cubao. This year, Regal Shocker sa Cubao. Walang Barbie. Hu. Again, that depends on your perception of beauty. Because if your perception of beauty are the mestizas, Bri, then this is not the batch for you. But this is the batch for me that offers diversity in terms of skin color, skin tone. May magandang mestiza, may magandang chinita, may magandang hafi, may magandang morena, may magandang kayumangging kaligatan, may magandang ethnic yung kanilang beauty. And I would rather have that because it is a representation of what the entire Philippines have to offer rather than having a batch that is purely white-centric, purely, Western-centric in terms of the definition of beauty. I kind of agree that regal regal shock ka sa batch ng mga girls this year. But then again, that is a very shallow definition of beauty on your part. That the only goal for you are the mestizas. I think that is, something that as a society, the Philippines needs to get over with, that the only definition of beauty is the white-centric, the Caucasian-centric, the beauty. The half Pinay, half foreign na beauty. I think this batch proves that it's not just about beauty of face, but also accomplishments. It's also about what they bring to the table after the reigns are done. It's about, having a life outside pageantry, having, accomplishments that speaks of, what Filipinas can bring and offer to the table. And I think that batch of Binibining Pilipinas, this batch of Binibining Pilipinas candidates offer that and more. Hindi lang ganda yung ino-offer nila, but rather you have CEOs, doctors, lawyers, law students, you have customs brokers, you have CPAs, licensed certified public accountants, you have also models, but you also have advocates for HIV/AIDS, advocates for inclusivity and representation. You have candidates who, if you look at their resume, mapapahiya ka dahil manliliit ka doon sa mga accomplishments nila. And I'd rather have that instead of a batch na ganda lang ang may offer. Nasaan na ba tayo? Becky Lublanco, your thoughts on Tarlac City? Not sure if you already discussed her. Si Zea, pag-usapan natin si Zea because hindi siya tumatak on the intro for me, but tumatak siya on the swimsuit and the evening gown competitions. Hello the universe. Umaasa ako na ang absence ni Sir Hines means on negotiations on titles. Okay. Okay. Hanggang doon muna natin. Wag muna natin pag-usapan. Okay? Because if ever na may mga okay. Hello the universe. Wait mo na lang yung patsa ako tomorrow. Di na lang ako magsasalita kasi baka preempt ko. Okay? Becky LeBlanco, number 1 kind of reminds me of Miriam. Miriam Q pre-Osmel makeover. Yes. Ang ganda ng proportions pala ni Paulina Labayo, ha. In fairness, hindi siya nag-register as mahaba doon sa kanyang swimsuit kasi medyo cropped yung kanilang mga swimsuit cropped under the knees, and of course yung mga poses nila, they have to do mga mga creative na poses, but on stage ang haba niyang tignan. She looks really tall. And very well proportioned at that. Lord Len, kudos sa BPCI sa magandang presentation nila. Agree. Rojoel Gel. I finally made it to your live chat. Hello, Joel Gel. I hope na mag-enjoy ka. I hope na to hear more from you in the future sa mga susunod natin mga live chat. Hello, Mama Doms! Ayan, abangan mo yung mga chichi natin for tomorrow, yung mga tsaa natin for tomorrow, Mama Doms. Kasi I'm sure mag-enjoy ka. Mukhang kaya wala si Mother Universe. May explain na kung bakit wala si Mother Universe sa papiging nung nakaraang mga linggo. Ayan. Hello, the universe. Agree, mas gusto ko diversity ng batch na ito in terms of beauty. And not just in terms of beauty, hello, the universe. They are also diverse in terms of accomplishment in life and their backgrounds. May mga girls who came from wealthy families or girls na nagmula sa walang-wala. And with that kind of background, makikita mo na silang mas may drive, mas may tapang na magpakitang gilas. The beauty critique. Hello, Jason. Very intelligent discussion on the women of Binibining Pilipinas. I hope Miss Araneta City will be made a substantial major title in the pageant. Regards. I kind of agree. I want actually that the Miss Araneta, the Binibining Pilipinas Araneta City title would return, because I hope that Binibining Pilipinas will have a title where it's a national title, but the winner does not get or is not pressured to compete internationally. I think that for me is a bonus, because I would rather have someone who is more focused on the advocacies, on the activities within the Araneta City na group, so that if she wants to compete in Miss Universe Philippines in the future, meron na siyang training ground on how to act as a national title holder. Margin, Marcelo, Cristobal, Ana Lacrini, pag-uusapan natin siya mamaya. Your thoughts on the two representatives of Tarlac. Again, I have listed yung mga standouts ko ng swimsuit at ng evening gowns a little bit later. Madami ang achievers sa Binibining Pilipinas, sabi ni Lord Lena. Agree. Sobra. And these achievers are Samantha Panlilio level achievers. These are girls that have, that have businesses of their own, na multi-hyphenate, can really have, these are women that have a full life outside of pageantry. Nasaan na tayo? Becky Lou Blanco, not Zaya, sir, the other Tarlac girl, the tall one after Zaya. Sino ba ang kasunod ni Zaya? Wait lang ha, hindi ko matandaan. Can someone check it out for me kung sino yung kasunod ni Zaya na also from Tarlac? Kasi hindi ko sila kabisado in terms of their sashes. I don't know, for me, mas nakilala ko sila with their names. So, please remind me, okay? Nasaan na tayo? Multidoc 1. Hello from Mississippi, USA. Hello, good morning there. I think it's morning or I think it's morning. Early morning there in the US. Hello, the universe. Paulina Labaya talaga ako. Ha ha ha, Sir Jason. Namula ka sa tanong regarding Sir Hines and the title negotiations. Kasi mayroon akong patsaa. Hello, the universe. Abangan mo bukas. Please lang, wag mo na akong ipilit na i-push. Kung gusto mo siyang malaman kung ano yung patsaa, I already posted it on my blog, yung full tea. So if you have time later on, you can go and check it out. Multidocs 1 says, this batch is really competitive. Margin Marcelo Cristobal, the 5'11" tall Ana Valencia is totally an eye candy for pageant aficionados longing for Pinay Glamazona Victoria's Secret model type of physique. Raymar Abutan, your opinion and thoughts on Binibining 16 General Tias Cavite's performance. if you're talking about Atasha Rain Parani, then she did well. She delivered. Okay, nasaan na ba tayo? Multidon, Ana Valencia or Dr. Trisha for MI? There are other options aside from those two. And mamaya natin usapan kung sino yung mga mga nagbago kasi kung sino yung iniisip ko for Binibining Pilipinas International because of the preliminaries. So, unfortunately, wala si Ana. Nalaglag si Ana at saka si Trisha doon sa listahan ko. At least for now. So, Multidoc says, 5, 6, 7, and 8 for Miss Globe. Kinda agree. Nasa na tayo? Joel daw. Thanks for the shout out. I also follow you in Insta. I am generator in isn't all. Okay. Pampanga and Angeles City, sabi ni Harold Garcia. Okay, kasi since marami na kayo nang sinasabing about mga standouts dun sa Binibining Pilipinas then let's go ahead doon sa swimsuit. In terms of yung standout sa swimsuit na competition, these are the ladies, but they are listed randomly, okay? Definitely si Mirhan nandyan. Mirhan is actually one of the girls na tingin ko top 5 worthy yung kanyang performance. Joy Dacoron is also in my list because Joy Dacoron has the body, has the height, being I think 6 foot or 6'1" in terms of kanyang height. Joy Dacoron is, I think for me, yung embodiment ng physicality in this batch. Ganda ng katawan, haba ng legs. I just hope na in terms of the technical skill, mas ma-refine pa yon. I also have Atasha Rain Parani as one of the probably top 5, top 6 in terms of performance and technical ability to perform on stage. I think yung straight hair really works for her. I think she reminds me of this Venezuelan supermodel na Juicy Chan ang kanyang name. I'm sorry if I mispronounce her name. Na supposed to be sasali ng Miss Venezuela but hindi natuloy-tuloy. But she really is, giving me that kind of vibe, si Atasha Rain. And hindi niyo rin may ikakaila na Atasha was our number 1, if I'm not mistaken, doon sa aming list of best swimsuit portraits na ni-release 2 weeks ago. So for me to see her, performing at the finals, parang I feel vindicated because nilagay ko siya as my best best swimsuit portrait. And pinakita niya na she can deliver on photo, on video, as well as on stage. And then, Aliyah Estores is quite a revelation for us because ang ganda pala ng hubog ng katawan ni Aliyah, and she really has this very very toned na katawan. And hindi lang ganda ng mukha ang ino-offer niya. I think that she, delivers on stage. She knows to project on stage. She knows her best angles. And in terms of photographs, she delivers well as on that aspect as well. And I think I would say that in terms of performance, Aliyah was stronger in the evening gown than in swimsuit. And then I also have, of course, Rim Adakoden. The white really is her best color. And the good thing about Rima's skin tone is that optic white, which has a blue tint undertone on it, or a warmer cream-ish na mga whites, kaya niyang dalhin. She can pull it off. And not a lot of people with great skin tones is able to carry very well warm and cold tones of white. Definitely, did that. Kaya I think Rima is sitting pretty as a possible, semi-finalist at this point in time. Zina Ramos, I like the way yung na curl ng hair niya. It's not your typical pageant patty na hair, but she really delivered on the styling. And needs, for me, I think meron pang may improve yung kanyang pasarela. And in terms of yung choreography, I think she can play more with regards to the choreography of her walk. Of course, Paulina Labayo is there. Kita naman with her body proportions, she has really good shoulders. If on stage, ang una ko napapansin kay Paulina is yung neck and yung shoulder niya. She really has, very Miriam Kiambao na stance. It translates well on stage in the way that she walks. So I think people are now looking at her as one of the underdogs in the competition. Jean Isabel Bilasano is also a revelation in the swimsuit na competition. Love the hair. I know na maraming mga tao na sinasabi na nasobrahan yata yung hair extensions at kulot ng mga girls this year, but with Jean, with Belle actually, yung liit ng mukha kasi ni Belle, kinakailangan i-counterbalance doon sa proportions ng katawan niya. Isabel Bilasano has a very small face, and I can say that because I've seen her, I've interviewed her, and talaga ang liit talaga ng mukha niya. And with big hair, bumabalanse yung kanyang face with her height. So I think it's safe to say na kaya niyang i-pull off yung big hair because sa liit ng face niya. And at the same time, swabe siyang maglakad on stage. She has a very distinctly hers na walk. I don't know how to explain, but yung may pitik yung kanyang lakad. And at the same time, she also glides very well on stage. So asahan natin, I can predict now at this point in time, she's an easy top 12, top 15 or 16 na placer in the finals. If she's able to sustain yung ganitong momentum niya, I really think that she can upset a lot of front runners and popular girls in the competition. And then I have Angelica Lopez. Yung mga girls na katulad ni Mirhan, ni Joy, Lina, ni Isabel, ni Angelica, ni Yesli, ni Ana. Sila yung mga girls na ang hahaba tignan, that they have the height, the advantage of height, and the advantage of good body proportions. Then we have nabanggit ko si Angelica Lopez. Si Angelica pala, ang liit niyang mukha niya in person. And the less makeup that she puts on, I think she's more prettier than a full makeup. Kasi I've seen her with very minimal makeup when I interviewed Mirhan. Magkasama kasi sila na nag-shopping during the day, and while she was waiting for her Grab na ride, nakapagtsikahan pa kami. And I think Angelica has one of those really interesting, exotic na faces. And she knows how to use that in her presentation. And nakita ko na doon sa swimsuit na Preliminaries, she really delivered with a very strong, presentation. Maganda yung kaha ng mukha niya, yung the way that she projects on stage. And makikita nyo na professional talaga tong si Angelica, especially on her national costume presentation. And then, I also have yung very long, very Filipina Pocahontas na version na isang Disney na isang Disney princess, no? And that's Yesli Cabanos. Yesli really was the girl na kapag sinabi mong kayo mangging kaligatan, siya yung unang-unang pumapasok sa isip ko because love her skin color. I love yung brown ng kanyang yung pagka-brown ng kanyang skin, and she knows how to deliver on stage as well. Yung performance niya, I think, is safe enough that hindi niya kinakailangan dagdagan ng additional na mga rekado, dahil tingin ko suwabe at sakto lang yung presentation niya. It doesn't need a lot of extra movements for it to be impactful. Of course, Sofia Lopez Galvez is also there, being a contesera, being a Miss Philippines Earth alum. We expect a lot of things from former MPE queens and MPE candidates like Gianna, like Kiara, and now Sofia. The mere fact that Sofia, has that glowing look doon sa in person, doon sa finals, I think may posibilidad na si Sofia ang isa sa mga sisira doon ng mga prediction games ng mga pageant pages. Ana Lacrini is a safe bet to make it in semis. Last year nagsis din siya. I just hope na lambutan niya yung kanyang presentation dahil mas nag-shine siya sa swimsuit because hindi niya kinakailangan ng masyadong maraming rekado for that. Her proportions, her body proportions, will make her look good on stage because she's 5'10" in height, because she has the body. In terms, however, of technical na skill, I think there are girls na still is far more superior than her. Lea Macapagal, fun, spunky, very alive yung kanyang presentation. Love the straight hair on her. I think that is her best look for the swimsuit competition. Kung magawan ng paraan na maikahon niya yung kanyang press presentation swimsuit na look for the finals, I think that dapat niyang dalhin yon until the 28th. Sandy Vollinger is also in my list, as well as Zayan Slaypala. Sandy really has a different way of bearing. Maybe it's because she's a doctor. Maybe because she's used to being very presentable at all times. So hindi ako magtataka na dala-dala niya yon up until the Binibining Pilipinas stage. There is a certain level of confianza that you see in her na I don't see in other girls when it comes to her presentation on stage. That kind of self-assuredness is very difficult to fake. And I think that is one of Sandy's biggest arsenal. And then, of course, Zea Slaypala, who I think mas malaman siya ngayon, mas curvy siya ngayon as compared to her Miss Bikini Philippines stint na mas lean siya tignan. However, kita mo pa din yung pagiging contesera ni Zea. She's able to, deliver on stage when she needed to deliver on stage. You would see na kahit na pinapalakad na siya nung mga nasa floor director, she would still know na kinakailangan niyang mag-post, mag-register para may magandang kuha ang mga photographers sa kanya. And I think that is a mark of a true blue contesera. So I am hoping na lawakan nila yung tawag ito, semi-finalist na circle, if totoo na top 12 lang kukunin nila dahil ang daming masasayang ng mga girls in this batch. Now, madaliin na natin ito. Let's go to gowns because we need to discuss the national costumes pa. When it comes to gowns, Zoe for me is one of the girls na tumatak sa isip ko. Simply because Zoe wore this yellow-orange na gown sa beauty derm, and after the Binibining Pilipinas, after the event, nakausap ko siya sa may lobby ng New Frontier Theater at sabi ko sa kanya, alam mo, mas nagandahan ako doon sa ombre na orange-yellow mo na gown as compared to the blue one because there's movement, it looks more dynamic, it looks better on stage. And sabi niya sa akin was that yung ni-require kasi sa kanila for the beauty derm are the gowns or the dresses na gagamitin sana doon sa shoot sa Dasol sa Pangasinan. So essentially with the gowns that the girls wore for the beauty derm na segment was actually mga gowns na dapat gagamitin nila doon sa gagamitin nila doon sa Dasol. And sayang kasi hindi kasi natuloy yung shoot na yon. So minabuti nila na since nandyan na yung mga gowns, nandyan na yung mga dresses, gamitin na lang siya for the Binibining Pilipinas na fashion show. So, for me, I think between the blue and the ombre na gown, mas naglilin towards ako doon sa ombre, orange and yellow na gown ni Zoe. Jean Isabel Vilasano is also on the list. I think the way that she walked on stage on that very sparkly na silver number is the reason why nasa listahan ko. It's not necessarily because gandang-ganda ako dun sa gown niya. It's more of the bearing, the way that she composed herself and walk on stage with confidence in that gown, knowing that there are a lot of silver gowns na ginamit this year that I think silver gowns are so overrated na and overexposed na. There are only a couple, I think, or 3 or 4 na mga gowns na nagustuhan ko that were of silver in color. And yung kay Jean, yung kay Belle, I love it because of the way that she carried it, not the other way around. I'm not very much a fan of the design because the design essentially may binabagayan na katawan, and thankfully bumagay siya sa katawan ni Belle. Kiara in yellow was, I think, a revelation. I think that's a color na gusto ko sanang niyang dalhin until finals. I am not sure if yung kanyang finals na gown is kung anong kulay, kung pink ba or yellow din. But definitely it will be by Rian Fernandez. Yun yung original na nabanggit niya sa akin. So I am hoping na because Rian is very much in demand right now for pageant gowns, I do hope na ma-execute niya yung choreography ng maayos for the finals because my God, you're wearing a Rian Fernandez na gown, so karirin mo na kumbaga. But okay, so if you were wondering what happened during the evening gown presentation, preliminaries ng mga girls, nagkamali, I think, yung floor director or someone from the production team na pinalabas siya noong gumarampa yung top 10. Tapos that's the reason why rumampa ulit siya doon sa candidates 11 to 20. I think hindi naman siya lalabas on stage kung hindi siya sinabihan na it's your turn na lumabas on stage. So that's why the double exposure tuloy si Kiara. And I think that worked well on her favor kasi kahit doon sa first 11 or doon sa 11 to 20 na mga candidates, lutang yung yung ginamit niyang yellow. I am not a fan though of yung hair niya that evening. I hope na for the finals ma-address nila yon. Anna Lacrini is also on my list. I do, however, prefer her gown in the beauty derm na segment. Lyra is also a revelation doon sa yellow niya na gown. I think a lot of the girls this year nag-shine on one or the other aspect ng beauty derm or ng evening gown preliminaries. And Lyra, I think, did a very, I don't know, there's something about Lyra na kahit hindi siya yung pinakamatangkad na girl sa competition, she manages to wow us with her performance. And I think wag nating tulugan itong si Lyra kasi sa tingin ko siya yung isa sa mga pwedeng maging pleasant surprises come finals. And another thing pala, yung gown ni Isabel na dilaw doon sa beauty derm, I think kung lagyan mo ng mga bato yon, pwede na rin niyang gamitin yon for the finals in May 28 kung gugustuhin niya. I think yellow, yung mga nag-yellow doon sa, ang daming nag-yellow kasi doon sa beauty derm na segment eh. So I think yung mga nag-yellow this year, sila yung mga mabilis matandaan. And then Gianna wore a silver gown. And I think this is the best look ni Gianna throughout the entire evening. Love yung straight hair on her. Aliyah is also one of the girls on our list. She wore this Athena gown inspired by the Greek na goddess. And she looked very much, very Grecian in her gown. Mirhan, although I'm not a fan of her hot pink red na gown, but her performance, my God, she was hamming it up for her performance on stage. And I think when it comes to yung overall scheme of things, it's not about the gown, but it's more of the performance of the girl. And if she can carry the gown spectacularly, I think that's the mark of a true blue na contesera. Yes, Leo's also on my list, especially yung fuchsia niya na gown with chiffon na extensions. The way that she moved on stage, super suave tignan. Rima, I love her for her gown performance, for her overall styling for that evening. Yung hair up niya, bumagay sa kanya. She looked very tall in her evening gown. Zea in her medyo simple yung kanyang white na gown for the gown preliminaries, pero she moves like a pro. And I think with her being 5'5.5" tall, nagmukha siyang mas mahaba than that, mas matangkad than that because of the way that she moves on stage. Angelo Barro was also eye-catching with her fringe na white and blue na number. I think yung extra movement added a layer of capturing attention, and nakaganda yun sa kanya. I love yung gown ni Lorraine in mint. I think that she looked good in that color. I just hope na sana mas may oras siya to really ham it up on stage sa kanyang presentation. And then, finally, si Dr. Sandy Bollinger, Binibining number 40. Love the cutouts under her silver gown, but I do hope na sana yung silver gown niya na yon, ginamitan niya ng kulay. Kasi I think something on the reds, something on the maroons would probably suit her best for her skin tone. Ayan, basa muna tayong mga Sandali lang ha. Basa muna tayo ng mga comments and then let's continue with my final list ng national costumes. Okay, so here we are. Katrina Sese. Okay, Katrina Sese, I think for me she did much better in the swimsuit competition than the evening gown kasi mas naalala ko yung kanyang performance sa tawag nito sa swimsuits. Ayan, Diyos ko. Okay. Nasaan na tayo? I think I overly scrolled down. There were so many comments na and oh my gosh, where did we end up? We are now with Dansum SNJHSM. Sabi nila hindi daw ganun kapasabog ang Binibining Pilipinas, parang mali sila. Nararamdaman ko na ang yanig. Kinda agree. Just because the girls are very underrated, that doesn't mean that they didn't deliver during the preliminaries. In fact, if you look at the preliminaries, mula press presentation, from the intro, the swimsuit na parade doon sa pasarela nila for the evening gown segment, the national costume, I think a lot of girls were very underrated but very well deserved with the accolades for their performances. Masakit ang top 12 na cut. So I am hoping that they do a top 16 or at the very minimum a top 15 for this year kasi ang daming well-deserving na girls who really did deliver during the press presentation and the evening gown preliminaries. Nasa na tayo? Rodney Fiel, imagine ko, what if tinapatan ni BBP ang paandar ng MUP, even yung finals nila? I don't know, Rodvin. Definitely, they will be talking about yung dilim ng stage, kung sino ang mas madilim. So, yun yung pag-uusapan nila. Sabi ko, Lord Lena says, sabi ko kay Binibini 36, kung may bagong title sa kanya yon, I feel it. Like Pia, Kylie, Mutya, and Meganon. Multidocs 1, thank you for the shoutout, Sir Jason. Well, you're welcome. Ramil Joseph G. Ramirez, your thoughts about Binibini 35 Rizal Province? Sino si Binibining Rizal? Si ano ba? Yan kasi yung problema dapat pangalan lang sinasabi ninyo. Hindi ko kabisado yung mga lugar kung saan sila saan sila galing. I honestly am much more familiar with their names at this point in time rather than their numbers or their than their si Sofia Galve ang 35, 36. Hindi pa si Lorraine. No. Lorraine Hara yata is 39. O, kita nyo, again, when it comes to their numbers, I don't know kung ano yung mga numbers nila. So, I hope that you comment their names kasi mabibigyan ko kayo ng assessment on that. But definitely, if you're talking about Sofia Galvez, she did deliver. Hindi mo pwedeng i-ignore si Sofia, especially dun sa kanyang intro during the presentation. So, I think mas may weight yung press presentation as compared to the evening gown na preliminaries. Nasaan na ba tayo? Nasaan na tayo? Arvin F. Alegado. Hello, Jason. Ask ko lang po kung mayroong closed door interview ang Binibining Pilipinas. I'm still waiting for more on that. Wala pa ako naririnig kung meron or kung kailan ang Binibining Pilipinas closed door interview. Supposed to be yung punta nila ng Dasol, doon sila mag-shoot ng Road to the Crown pero hindi natuloy daw. So let's wait for more information on that. I think that Binibining Pilipinas kinda made some errors in scheduling na iniwasan nila ang MUPH. Kaya ngayon, lahat nagdidikit-dikit ang mga events ng Binibining Pilipinas, mga major events ng Binibining Pilipinas towards the latter end of the month. And I think yung mga ganong decision affected yung pagkawala ng closed-door interview, pagkawala ng Santa Cruzan dahil sayang eh. Those are opportunities pa sana for the fans to get to know more of the girls. Kasi that's the only reason why a lot of these criticisms by some fans na hindi kilala, hindi sikat ang mga Binibining Pilipinas girls, it's because on the Binibining Pilipinas end, hindi rin nila pinush yung mga girls to be more visible. And I think I will be talking more about that during the post-finals review of the pageant. Paulina, sabi ni Hello the Universe, Paulina Labayo, pang Supra sana. John Isel reminds me of Maxine Magalona. Josh Moore says, I love Yesley and Joy. Ang ganda nila sa stage. Arvin F. Alegado agrees with Josh Moore. Yes kay Yesley. Josh Moore, sabi niya, I don't like Mirhan's big hair. Please advise her not to do it again. She's better with clean look. Cleo Tan, sir, talking about the girls' jag walk, it was a shame for us watching the live to see the girls view yung jag jeans na, what do you call this? Jag jeans na, na segment. Dahil halos sabay-sabay silang lumabas. And in order for us to get a sense of ano yung capability nila on stage, gusto ko namin makita yung individual na labas nila. Problem is, hindi nangyari yon. So, paano mo i-review yung mga girls when hindi mo makita individually yung kanilang performance? I think that's the reason why wala akong ginawang listahan on JAG. Dahil ang hirap, especially may mga segments na biglang tatluhan, maramihan ang lumalabas. Wait a minute, nasaan tayo? Ramil Joseph G. Ramirez, maglalamon ng mic si Sofia sa finals. Ramil, nanlamon siya nung introduction pa lang. I think yung very self-assured niyang introduction on being a CEO of the companies and being, the Binibini who walks the talk, you kind of get a sense na, nanlamon siya talaga. Umpisa pa lang. Nasaan na tayo? Okay, Travel Junkie, I was intrigued. Just checked your patsaa in your blog. Sir, kaloka ang absent tita. Ha 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 ha. Okay, moving on. Saka na natin pag-usapan yan tomorrow on our Instagram. Hello the Universe. Sir, comment kay Jano Gibbs and partner during the evening gown segment. Sana instrumental na lang, malaglo. Miss Globe. Nabasa ko din yung blog. Malayo na yung third crown this year. Umaasa ako na nasa London si Sir Hines ngayon. Mas feasible yon. LOL. CC, bakit po wala yata yung video ng YouTube live ng Binibining Pilipinas event kahapon? Okay, the reason for that is usually nililinis ng Binibining Pilipinas yung audio so that if in case na may copyrighted, they pinapatungan or nililinis nila yon para hindi sila ma-issuehan on copyrights. Lord Lena, si Binibining Pilipinas 36, si Childs Balana. Actually, si Childs, I kinda remember her in her swims performance. Hindi ko siya masyado naramdaman on the evening gowns. So maybe a better evening gown perhaps for Childs, kasi tingin ko naman nag-deliver siya on the preliminary on the swimsuit na press presentation part. Rojoel Gel, nasagot ko na yan, yung tanong mo about crowns. JB Sarmiento, I also mentioned Sofia Galve in previous, a little bit earlier. Sir Jason, Lemwall 235, Sir Jason, Miss Shamsi just released an official statement regarding the top 10 fiasco of MEPH. I hope this clears the air on the issue. Move on na ang mga fans. Alam mo, Lemwell, wala na akong pakialam dyan sa issue nila kasi sa totoo lang, ang kalat nila. And I honestly, parang we're past that. Nakamove on ng mga tao. Biker and Broke, Gianna to Angelica to Aliyah to Mirhan. Overall, sa kanila palang hirap na. Dark horses kahapon si Aliyah, especially sa national costume, kita ang personality. Yun na nga, parang feeling ko, yung first batch, super strong na tipong nalamon yung second, third, and fourth na batches dahil everyone doon sa first na batch mula kay Juvel hanggang kay Lyra, hanggang kay Mirhan, hanggang kay Gianna, hanggang kay Paulina, ang lalakas. And even Angelica especially, yung performance ni Angelica on the national costume, parang wow. Pwedeng siya ang mag-take home ng best in national costume aside from Atasha. Okay, nasaan na ba tayo? JB Sarmiento. Sir Jess, your thoughts on Aliyah Torres, Binibini 7? She's the frontrunner po at ang tangkad niya, medyo nawala lang siya sa composure during her opening speech. I mentioned Aliyah in my list of standouts sa gowns sa swimsuit. Thoughts on JAG? Okay, Cleo Tan, what are your thoughts on the JAG videos released last night? Parang hirap-hirap ang mga girls sa poses nila in my opinion. I haven't reviewed all the JAG jeans na mga video. So, hirap talaga silang mag-post kasi may part ng video that they were harnessed at nilift up sila doon sa kanilang video. Josh Moore, what's your take regarding Binibining Pilipinas candidates attending MUP Coronation Night? Kung candidate ka, I don't think that there should be an issue. If you are there, to watch and look at the performances, review the performances, take in what you can use for your performance, wala akong problema on that aspect. But if you are there, na tawag ito na past queen ka, parang hindi yata maganda tignan. That, I think, magkakaroon tayong problema on the optics. So, there's a lot of past and even current na mga Binibining Pilipinas queens na nagpunta and were photographed with the Miss Universe Philippines na background. I just think that they should have thought of it much better because it does not look good optics-wise. Okay? Promising na sponsor si Beauty Derm, parang generous, sana di sulutin ng Empire, sabi ni Hello the Universe. Alam mo, Hello the Universe, sila yung namukutanging nagpa-giveaway ng Louis Vuitton na bag at saka Balenciaga, if I'm not mistaken, basta dalawang mamahaling bag, pina-raffle draw nila sa mga Binibining Pilipinas na mga girls. And kasama sa loot bag ng mga press and media personality, mga media na nag-cover ng press presentation, mga product ng Beauty Derm. So, alaga kami sa pagkain, alaga din kami sa mga pa-loot bag nila because Beauty Derm, Ultra White, and shout out sa Everbillion for the generosity sa aming mga pageant media. Lemwall 23.5, if you were late, I already discussed about Rima and Jean Bilasano. So, backread ka na lang. Team Rima, nasaan na ba tayo? Will Andrante, who's your best gown, Sir Jess? Mahirap na tanong yan kasi the best gown for me is the one that Zoe wore na ombre ang color, orange and yellow, the one that she wore in the beauty derm na segment. I think that gown would really look great on the finals, would really look great on stage. Yun. And there's something about that color that really is, kapag inihilera mo siya doon sa mga gowns, yun yung unang pumupunta yung mata ko because of yung intensity ng color at saka yung effect mismo ng ombre na kulay nung gown. CC, sabi niya, hindi lang naman ang top 10 ng issue sa NUPH, kinawawa nila si Celeste. Lorena, Phoenix ang kulay ng gown. Yes, I would agree. The very flame-ish looking na yellow and orange. Hello, the universe. Bakit wala sa poster si Nicole Cordoves pero binanggit as co-host? I don't know. Travel Jackie, who's your best not cost? For me, yung tinatakbong ibong galing ng execution. Travel Junkie, nandun pa lang, papasok pa lang tayo sa national costumes. So, I have actually 5 na nasa listahan ko in terms of the national costumes, on the designs themselves, okay? Please remember, these are personal picks and this is a reflection of my personal preferences and on aesthetics ng national costumes, but I also have listed several girls na tingin ko nag-perform in terms of the performances. When it comes to the national costume na design, on my list is si Angelica Lopez, because si Angelica Lopez really had a very well-designed costume. Yung Tubataha Reef, yung Underground River, yung story about the world's largest pearl na discover sa Palawan, it all made sense in the way that she presented her costume. Plus, hindi lang niya sinamahan ng kwento, but also sinamahan din niya ng aesthetics. And on top of that, sinamahan niya ng performance yung kanyang national costume presentation. And that is what makes me think that overall, in terms of performance, aesthetics, design, I think that Angelica Lopez should win the Best in National Costume Award this year. In terms of performance, in terms of story, and in terms of yung energy, during presentation of the national costume, yung ibong adar na costume ni Atasha Rain Parani is something that I really appreciated. For me, siya yung second best ko na national costume in terms of overall na impact ng national costume. The third na national costume na talagang wow ako was the national costume of Belle, Jean Isabel Villasano. Yung kanyang abaka na costume na ang bigat-bigat, yung kanyang umbrella na umuusok, yung kanyang national costume as a whole, as an ensemble with the Albay Sinamayon volcano, in the overall look of the national costume, really for me is one of the most visually stunning costumes in this batch. And ang maganda doon, may kwento. May social and cultural significance yung kanyang national costume. And then, ika-apat sa aking list is the national costume of Rima Adacoten. Yung kanyang very simple but very effective na barot saya. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, the technical term for her national costume is actually batadyong. It's a variation, if I'm not mistaken, of the balintawak na costume. And what I like about that is that yung kanyang bilao, it actually is consisting of real fruits and vegetables and fish. Ang sabi nga nila sa akin is yung yung tawag ito yung kanyang national costume nangangamoy daw kasi yung bilao talagang totoong may tilapia at may isda doon sa kanyang bilao. So in terms of authenticity, I think I am very much impressed on that aspect. Ang ikilima sa aking listahan is there is something about the national costume of shucks, what's her name again? Sandali lang ha. It's here. Ay, bakit hindi siya lumabas? Anyway, sandali lang. Let me just open it up. Yung, ayan. Si Binibining Pilipinas 20, si Julian Rose, oh shoot. Wait. Reyes, tama ba? Sandali lang ha. Let me just bakit ayaw niyang lumabas? Kasi it's very interesting kasi yung KKK niyang yung katipunan niyang costume because may kwento. It's Julian Rose Reyes, Binibining 20 ng Cavite. I really love yung tawag nito, yung overall look ng kanyang costume, tapos yung veiled na Maria Clara depicting some of the heroes doon sa kanyang costume. Overall, I think may drama, may arrive and impact yung kanyang national costume. And I think yung black, white, and red na combination is really striking on stage. In terms of performances, nangunguna sa listahan ko is of course yung kay Angelica Lopez, yung kay Atasha Rain Parani, and I kind of like yung performance ni Kiara Gel Gregorio for her national costume na buti na lang may gulong yung kanyang national costume, so madali niyang hilain. And she looked really very comfortable na pumarada on stage. There's a lot of national costumes na malalaki at ang lalaki ng kanilang mga mga props for the national costume show. But at the same time, I think na dahil ang daming props, nawawala ng focus yung nawawalan ng I don't know, there is something lost in terms of the overall visual, that you look at the overall visual, not the costume in itself. That the attention is being split between the costume and the props surrounding the costume. That is why, for me, I much prefer costumes that have story, that have a good balance of story, performance, aesthetics, and cultural significance. That is why mas may weight sa akin yung mga costumes like the one worn by Mirhan Hipolito, na it is very simple but it explains yung origin, kung ano yung nire-represent niya, which is Angeles City. Kaya yung national costume niya looks like an angel. I would have added, some more wings siguro dun sa kanyang national costume. But in terms of yung overall na impact ng kanyang national costume, mas may impact yung ganun kasimple kasi yung mas masyadong malalaki na hindi makagalaw ang mga girls on stage. Case in point is yung national costume ni Sandy Vollinger, Binibining Pilipinas candidate number 14, na it's so heavy na hindi siya makakagalaw if naglakad siya doon sa U-turn ng doon sa may rampa nung stage. Another costume na I felt na tawag ito na would have been more I don't know, mas may effect is yung banga ng costume ni sandali lang. Let me just ni Katrina May Sese, because I think even without the banga, effective na yung kanyang costume itself. Hindi niya kinakailangan ng dagdagan ng additional pa na mga kwento or ng mga props. However, I think that there is a significance ng banga sa kanyang kwento, but I think that the costume in itself, even without the additional na detail ng banga and backstory ng banga, would have been, more than enough, more than adequate for a national costume presentation. I also have to commend yung national costume ni Angelo Baro, although it kind of made us reminisce on the Araguaney na national costume na ginamit ni Migbelis Castellanos doon sa Miss Universe 2014. Yung national costume ni Charmaine Magdasok on the shrine, on the EDSA shrine, isa din siya sa mga tumatak sa akin in terms of yung overall na impact nung kanyang costume, as well as yung national costume ni Katrina Castañeda Johnson, yung kanyang waling-waling na costume. Again, because of the large na props, tingin ko na wala ng attention on the costume itself, as compared to, let's say, the focus sana was on her costume rather than the costume and the props. So I think yun lang yung masasabi ko in terms of the national costumes. There are national costumes that I hope na it was more on the costumes rather on the props. I think may isa sa inyo na nag-mention about that earlier dito sa comment section. I agree that mas maganda sana kung the attention is on the costume, not on the props. Okay, nasaan na ba tayo? Lemuel 23.5. Sir Jason, regarding the MJI Philippines, mas lumalakas ang mga haka-haka or rumors one of the supposed 3 crowns to be awarded have left the building, either the tourism one or the Reina Hispano-Americana. Hello, the universe. Ang biggest question talaga, sino si Papi? Ay, Papi. Okay. Siguro hindi nilagay si Nicole sa poster kasi di siya ka-level ni Vice at Catriona, but I love Nicole. Lord Lena, maganda ang natkos ng Manila. Wait lang. Sabi ni Lord Lena, magaganda ang mga natkos ng Binibining Pilipinas this year. Pang world class. Queen Love says, hello sir. Kumusta po si Miss Manila po? Overall performance po. God bless po. TY. I think doon sa national costume ni Zoe, yung upper part ng kanyang leg, nung kanyang boots, mas maganda siguro kung tinanggal na lang yun para mas nakagalaw siya ng mas maayos. Another thing na nabanggit sa akin was that si Zoe hinimatay after the national costume show kasi super higpit daw nung corset nung kanyang national costume at medyo may kabigatan yung kanyang national costume. So I hope that she's doing well na ngayon kasi meron pang parade of beauty sa linggo, tapos for sure yung week na darating, sunod-sunod na ang kanilang sunod-sunod na ang kanilang mga activities leading towards the finals on May 28. Ayun. Yes, Becky Lou Blanco, I kind of agree that sabi ni Becky Lou, Rima's costume reminds me of Abby Arena's costume in MU 1997. The difference lang kasi is that yung kay Abby, salakot yung suot niya with cascading na mga seashells. Samantalang yung kay Rima, ano siya, bilao siya ng mga produce. Ng kanyang, especially that can be found on her in her native na province. Dorothy V. Jones, I hope Binibini would crown a girl based on her advocacy, thus a new title, or simply Binibining Luzon, Visayas at Binibining Mindanao. Samuel 23:5, the national costume ni Rima was very reminiscent of an Amor solo painting depicting during the time of the past. I've already mentioned that as well on Instagram. In terms of, I think, overall impact, super simple but very impactful yung kanyang national costume. Ayan. I think na cover ko na lahat ng mga points that I want to cover. Also, one last thought for the national costume. I just hope that in the future, sana gawa nila ng paraan na yung mga national costume ng mga girls are batched by themes. Like for example, like yung national costume ni sino ba? Magandang example. Yung national costume ni Angelica Lopez at saka ni Julia May Mendoza. Sana merong by theme. Like for example, yung national costumes nila Julia at saka ni Angelica, you can put it as water themed na mga costumes para pwede silang in groups na magkakasunod. And then have yung mga inspired by historical landmarks and much like the Jones Bridge or the cathedrals ng mga costumes, and then separate maybe a segment for mga, how do you say this, mga Marian inspired na mga costumes pa magkaroon ng thematics din yung what do you call this, yung national costume show. It might be a nightmare logistically, but I do hope na in the future that is something that they can look into. Ayan. Okay, mga final na mga comments na. Let's just read some of them. Rodlinas says, I agree na since simple yung costume ni Rima, nag-stand out siya. Queen Love, marami smart girls this year, pero bias ako kay Zoe kasi Manila. Hello the Universe, sana may year na back-to-back basic Filipina ang theme. Clark Langilaw, despite na bash Joy Dacron, ang flawless niya, lalo na sa kanyang pasarela. I think Joy still needs to polish her catwalk. There are still areas of her technical presentation na kinakailangang ayusin in terms yung kanyang turns, in terms yung transition ng kanyang mga poses, yung transition ng mga facial expressions. Sabi ni Rodin Fiel, or sana naroon ng Filipiniana na fashion show. Ayan. I agree. However, let's see kung ano pa yung mga pwedeng dalhin ng Binibining Pilipinas na tawag nito na mga pagbabago in the future. I think because of the time constraints, ang hirap na niyang isalpak sa ngayon. But I do hope that in the future, these ideas, they would be open to that. And sana magpatuloy yung every year na may continuous na progress ang Binibining Pilipinas na pageant, and at hindi magkaroon ng stagnation. Much like what happens in other national pageants na hindi na nag-evolve, hindi na nagle-level up. Ayan. Thank you very much for everyone who joined our live stream today, this evening. Medyo may kahabaan siya, I know, but there's a lot of things to unpack because we had to review their intros, sino nag-stand out sa intro, sa national costume, sa swimsuit, sa evening gowns, and a lot of these girls really nakipagpatayan talaga doon sa performance aspect. And overall, despite some minor glitches on the audio, on the camera panning na pwede pa sanang i-improved, I think overall mas happy ang mga pageant fans because ito yung klase and level of production na ini-expect natin from a national pageant. Yung ang ganda ng ang ganda at ang linis ng ng production na alam mong pinaghandaan, ginastusan, the performers did their job and really entertained yung mga tao sa venue. The girls, really brought their game, and I think a lot of people really kind of nasiyahan, were entertained, and were happy with the press presentation and the Binibining Pilipinas fashion show this year. I do hope na yung mga nandito pa ngayon sa ating pa-live stream, please leave a like doon sa dun sa like na button natin para mas marami yung makapanood later on doon sa replay ng ating live stream. It's already 2 hours. Mahaba-haba na yung ating ang ating chikahan together, and I do hope that nag-enjoy kayo sa ating live discussion today. Pasensya na kung hindi ko nabasa yung karamihan ng ibang mga comments ninyo, but I do hope na you would leave a comment later on, and as much as I can, I will try to answer all of them there. Okay, thank you very much for a very wonderful evening with you guys, and I hope to see you in our next live stream. See you again, and have a nice day for those outside of the Philippines, at masarap ang tulog nating lahat ngayon dito sa Pilipinas. Bye everyone, and see you again soon.